Hey everyone, it's Sleepy Reader, aka Damien, and this is a belated haul from the Washington State SummerCon, which was exactly a week ago, and I had a fantastic time at the con, mostly because of the fellow YouTubers who were there, and related YouTube related people, John Stout, Bob, the other Bob that is. But anyway, right after the con, I had to get ready for a trip to Arizona. Thought maybe I could squeeze in a haul, but I just couldn't. So just got back from the trip to Arizona, and in a few hours I'll be heading down to the Portland Blues Festival. But I thought now I'll squeeze in this haul. Yeah, what I liked most about the con was hanging out with new and old friends and going out to dinner after the con, hanging out at the Airbnb that a bunch of us had rented together and drinking beers and talking shit. But the con itself is really cool, and it's much bigger than I thought because it's in several pavilions. They've got stages both inside the pavilion and out. But they gave very short shrift in terms of the locations for the actual panels with comic book creators. Bob, Bullseye Bob, that Bob, and Travis, a.k.a. Comics with Bueller, were the master of ceremonies for each comic book panel. And they did a really good job which in panels that sometimes seemed a little tricky. Anyway, so let me start with the haul. To me, the biggest thing I bought was this print from Jim Steranko. I think it's pretty amazing, and the more you look at it, the more you discover stuff. And I maybe slightly reluctantly paid the large amount that Jim Steranko charges for a signature. And there's his signature on my print. Which I guess affords you the chance to talk with Mr. Steranko, although maybe I could have just talked with him without getting the signature. I don't know. And our conversation, for the most part, was really fun for me, and this is from Chandler, or a.k.a. Red Summer. Is that what it's called? I'd have to go back and look. This paperback graphic novel he did, I want to say circa maybe 1974-75. Before Will Eisner's first graphic novel came out. And we discussed that fact, and he's maybe a little peeved about that, although he admitted that Will Eisner had done a lot of good work. And so we talked about his work, about him writing his history of comics and all of that. And that was fun, but then he started sort of quizzing me about this picture and saying, first he quizzed me, what are the three parts of a story, beginning, middle, and end. I kept thinking these are trick questions. And then he said, well, and this picture contains a beginning, middle, and end. And so that's where I got stumped, and he seemed kind of irritated with me that I wasn't picking up on what he's going. To him, the beginning, middle, and end turned out eventually to be kind of visual. Like you start with the flashlight. I mean, I guess it's storytelling and visual. You start with the flashlight peering in. I mean, I kind of thought of the beginning as he opened the door or something like that. But I learned some interesting things, like I did not realize that this woman's hands were tied up with her stocking. And you can see that she has one stocking and one leg without a stocking on it. However, you can see the strangler in the background seems to have a third stocking. I didn't point that out to him. Well, I didn't even realize that till looking at it later. And, he said, how do you know that she's dead? And it's because, according to him, her eyes are in shadow. But this is an amazing drawing to me, and his Chandler Red Summer or Red Dawn or whatever it was called really needs to be reprinted in a really nice edition, and I don't know why that's never happened. But I'm thrilled to have this print. And then, while talking about creators first, I guess, I picked up, does it say? I picked up this from the author, Obviously, it's kind of spoofing Superman and Shazam and Captain Marvel, and it looks like fun. I haven't read it yet. I enjoy supporting people who are self-publishing themselves if their comics look, especially if their comics look fun. So that was kind of cool. And what's the name of the author? I'm not sure. Warren Montgomery. Sorry, Warren Montgomery. So we'll see how I enjoy that. And then another I talked to other creators, but another creator that I had a nice long conversation with, she wasn't there officially pushing her work, but she was a friend of Bullseye Bob's wife, Tina. Her name is Jennifer Preston Kushoff, and she has this cool book which looks like someone's stained diary. And it's I haven't read it yet, but I plan to read it soon. But it's a really cool combination of images and prose. And she is I think basically a prose author, though she designed this book herself, who is, publishing is not easy anymore, and she's doing some combo of self-publishing and publishing with other publishers. So, and I think this is one of her self-published books, if I'm right, and it was really beautiful. So perhaps I'll update you after I read this. And then the comics I picked up were just kind of a random, I didn't spend a lot of time searching for comics, but there were some comics I managed to pick up. I went to a lot of panels and stuff. And I got to chat with Ryan Brown, the artist from 8 Billion Genies and other great books like Cursed Words. And I really enjoyed that conversation. But anyway, from a dollar bin, I picked up this old Jimmy Olsen. It's really beat up, but I love these just to read. So normally I'll happily pick them up from stores in the $5 to $10 range, which is still pretty cheap for these. But to get it for $1, that was fun. Same thing with this Superman Family comic, which has a dead man story in it, so I'm particularly excited about that. Who drew it? Almost looks... Neil Adams. Got some Neil Adams. I wonder if that's a reprint or original to this giant here. But I was excited by that. Got a few Lois Lane comics that I had never... I'm still working on my Lois Lane run, and I think... I don't know, what's the lowest number I've gotten to? Maybe like 40. So I don't have the lowest Loises in the run, and I'm not worrying too much about the early ones because they're expensive. And to me, it's reader copies, and I just intend to read them and have fun with them. Here's a very beat up number 49, Lois Lane. Love that cover. Classic. I don't know if that's Kurt Swan or Kurt Schaffenberger. I want to guess Schaffenberger, but I don't really know. I haven't looked into much about these comics. For instance, there was one dealer who had a whole box that was just marked Steve Ditko, and I don't know if every story in here is by Steve Ditko. I doubt it. I also don't know if this is reprints, because I think it's from 1978. It's Space War number 29. Great cover by Steve Ditko, so I haven't even looked inside these yet. Space War number 30. Love that cover. I feel like I've seen this cover in a reprint book that I own somewhere. So that, I'm guessing this is a reprint. I know that Charlton eventually went to mostly reprints. And then I've got number 31. So anyway, I'm looking forward to cracking these open. I just haven't had time. And then lately I've picked up a few Dagar the Invincible. I was going to say Dagar the Barbarian. Gold Key Comics or Western Comics answer to Conan. And I love the interior art on these. So I've decided just to collect them all. I think maybe there's like 18 issues or so. I'm not sure. The numbers are not on the covers. Some of them have fantastic painted covers, but these ones, they're okay. They're kind of weird, like a weird jumble of different elements. So I'm not sure what to make of them. I think I read somewhere that some of these paintings on, excuse me, on Gold Key Comics would be a painting the painter already had, and then he will add some more element, like he already used it on a cover for something else, and then he'll change it a bit. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, and then I was looking through this dealer that had a bunch of Golden Age, mostly like later Golden Age, and I decided, hey, I want some of these. I didn't want to spend too much money, so I got the really beat up ones. So, and I don't know if this even counts as Golden Age or maybe Atom Age, going into the Silver Age. It's got the comics code, but I've always wanted an old Black Hawks, and I just love this cover. And the price was relatively cheap. Of course, it's very beat up. So I picked that up. Black Hawks number 107. I haven't looked inside that one. I have looked inside this Plastic Man. I think is it from 1951? Anyway, I don't want to open it up right now because the cover's detached, and it was quite cheap. But I love this cover, and I definitely, without spending too much money, would love to own some old Plastic Man. So these are my second and third Golden Age comics. If you count, I own one original EC comic. Thank you very much to the great legend who gifted me an EC comic ages ago. All my other ECs are reprints. Anyway, so I'm excited by those two. And then I continue to fill out my Savage Sword of Conan collection. And apparently, I know I had it before, but apparently I had lost or misplaced, because I thought it collected numbers 1 through 100. But CLZ tells me I was missing issue 48. So I picked that up. And also I was missing issue 70. This cover looks really familiar, so I'm really surprised if I was really missing it. But since CLZ said so, and it was only $3, I picked it up. And then Conan 103, kind of an interesting cover. Sorry, there's a lot of glare in here. It's Conan smashing through some guy's chain mail, I guess. Kind of looks like a Roman legionary. I'm going to open this one up. Let's see what's inside. I think we're looking at some Pablo Marcos there. Yeah, a lot of very Pablo Marcos looking artwork. Pablo Marcos, of all the I don't know if he's Filipino or Spanish, but all of the sort of inkers, and sometimes he is the penciler here too. He always seemed to have a harsher style to me somehow. I'm not sure if I can explain that quite right, but as a kid, I was kind of fascinated, but a little disturbed by Pablo Marcos's art style. Oh, this is quite a cool cover, although Conan has a giant chin on Conan, the Savage Sword of Conan number 105. Really nice colors. I wonder who did that cover. I'm going to open this one up too. This one was $3 also. I know there's some people who find all of these in dollar bins, but I never do. So, and in fact, some of my local stores have started jacking up the prices on Savage Sword of Conan quite a bit. Like one place, you can't get them for less than $15, which is ridiculous. I don't immediately recognize this artist. It's Gary Krepes, who I own some original art by. But I don't think he inked this, did he? Yeah. Bob Camp inked it. So I think he's at his best when he inks himself. But still, there's some nice stuff here. Oh, and I was trying to look at who the cover artist was. There's a better look at that cover. The cover artist was Michael Golden. Can't really recognize his style once he's doing a painting. And there have been some Michael Golden cover paintings I didn't like, but I do like that one quite a bit. This is a very cool cover, number 113. Maybe I can get away without unbagging it. I love that kind of close-up of Conan. And somehow that face seems right for Conan. Although in the old Conan comics, they always gave him kind of a copper-colored skin, which is what bronzed or copper-colored, what Robert E. Howard would describe him as being. He's very sunburnt, or possibly Sumerians have a kind of bronzier complexion. This one looks like it's Ernie Chan art. The later Ernie Chan, when the lines got very thick, heavy brushed ink strokes, I think. So I'm pretty sure this is... Oh, that's a nice double page spread. I'm pretty sure this will be him doing the pencils too, but let me see. Yes, art by Ernie Chan. Written by Larry Yakata, who some people suspect was actually Larry Hama. There's not much known about Larry Yakata. And number 123, mixed feelings about this cover. I find the colors kind of ugly. And finally, a 112. That's kind of a cool cover, although the women look kind of odd. Like badly drawn supermodels, in my opinion. Wow, I only paid $1 for this one. I wonder how beat up it's going to be. Hope it's not missing any pages. Or smelling like smoke. Nope. This cover was by Joe Jusko. Wow, I don't think I would have recognized that as a Joe Jusko cover. I mean, these women almost look photoshopped in or something. Oh, it's, you know what? There's a slight feeling of water damage on the cover. I'm not a big fan of water damage, so I might look for another copy of this. Who was the artist on the main story? Art Dave Simons. I'm not that familiar. I've never sort of got a beat. I've heard that name, Dave Simons, here and there, but I've never gotten a beat on what his style was or who he was. So, anyway, yeah, the best part of it was seeing the people. Lorenzo, a.k.a. Alternative City Comics, a.k.a. Indie Comics and Reviews. Otaku Tour Guide, a.k.a. Borum, a.k.a. Bobby. John Stout was there with his best friend Bob, who's different from Bullseye Bob, who was there with his wife and possibly best friend Tina. And then Tina's friend Jennifer was there for a little while. And let's see, who am I forgetting? Of course, Bueller, Comics with Bueller, a.k.a. Travis, was there. And and then we met the Bronze Age Nerd for a little bit. It was too bad we couldn't hang out longer, maybe gone out for dinner or something. But anyway, we had these really fun group dinners that I enjoyed a lot. And the panels, like I say, watching them and sort of knowing Bob and Travis as real human beings, seeing them moderate the panels, I thought, wow, this is a tough job, and they're like making it work. Because some of the the biggest flaw of WA SummerCon was where they put the comic book panels. It was a terrible space. And at times there was just people waiting for signatures of movie stars in the background or wrestling stars and such. I did get to spy on Jesse Ventura, but I didn't try to get an autograph or anything. And what else? So I think I came away with the feeling of, I love to hang out with my fellow fans. I'm not that comfortable being a fan of other human beings who are comic book creators. So I did have a nice conversation with Ryan Brown. It felt very awkward, and I felt like a suck-up or something with Jim Steranko. And when he started quizzing me, if I felt like he was treating me like a middle school student, and I didn't really enjoy that. And then when I went to the panel with Larry Hama, I felt like he was just making life harder for the moderator, and I can't tell you that. And there's another thing. He said he was under an NDA. These NDAs are stupid. It's a comic book. It's not a major motion picture or what have you. And comic books sell by word of mouth. If Larry Hama can't tell us at the convention, a single word about what he's going to do in the new G.I. Joe, that's not helping sales. That's not making me go out and pre-order it. But in general, I felt like that was a panel with Larry Hama and Tim Seeley, and Tim Seeley was great as a sort of person on a panel, and Larry Hama was like, I don't really want to be here, kind of thing. So I kind of might have been happier not having seen Larry Hama and just imagined what he was like. Not that he was horrible or anything. But, some people are so charming, and then other people are just sort of there or whatever. But the main thing is, I think I don't like idolizing fellow human beings, but I can't have a one-on-one conversation as a peer with Jim Steranko, or for that matter. I also talked to one of my favorite writers of all time, Steve Englehart, but I was so self-conscious of that awkwardness of being a fan that I just gave him like my verbal thank you note for 2 minutes and then left without letting him talk, basically. So anyway, I guess I'm just not cut out for being a fan. But I am a fan of comic art, and I love talking about it with people as peers. So anyway, talk to you all later.